Hello everybody. If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 220, The Friday Night Market. London buzzed with its usual Friday night energy. Maya, a recent university graduate, dodged through the crowds in Camden Market, her worn backpack bumping against people's legs. Unlike the tourists with their fancy cameras, Maya was here for a purpose. She finally reached her destination, a small stall tucked away in a corner. A friendly-faced woman with warm brown eyes greeted her. "Maya, good to see you again. Ready for your shift?" "Absolutely, Sarah," Maya replied, a smile spreading across her face. Sarah, a local artist, ran Quirky by Design, a stall selling handmade crafts. Maya had been volunteering here every Friday night for the past year, a welcome break from her usual job at the local coffee shop. Tonight, however, was different. Sarah held up a small, ornately framed painting. "This just arrived today," she said. "Isn't it beautiful?" The painting was a vibrant landscape, capturing a field of wildflowers swaying in the summer breeze. It resonated with Maya, a stark contrast to the concrete jungle of London. "Wow," she breathed, "it's perfect." The rest of the evening flew by. Maya chatted with customers, explaining Sarah's creations and helping them choose the perfect souvenir. A young couple bought a set of mismatched earrings, giggling at their quirky design. An older gentleman picked up a leather wallet embossed with a roaring lion. He winked at Maya, saying, "This reminds me of my younger days." As the night wore on, the crowd thinned. Sarah started packing up, her movements tired but content. "Thanks again for your help, Maya," she said. "You're a lifesaver." "No problem at all," Maya replied. She hesitated. "I was wondering..." Sarah looked up, her brow furrowed. Maya took a deep breath. "Would you be interested in selling some of my own work here?" Sarah's eyes widened. "Your work? You make things?" Maya flushed. "Well, I wouldn't call it professional exactly," she stammered, "but I do like to write in my free time, short stories mostly." Sarah's smile softened. "Let me see some," she challenged. Maya, surprised but thrilled, fumbled in her bag and pulled out a worn notebook filled with scribbled stories. Sarah spent a good 10 minutes reading, her face a mask of concentration. Finally, she looked up, her eyes shining. "Maya," she said, her voice thick with emotion, "these are wonderful. You have a real talent here." Tears welled up in Maya's eyes. No one had ever praised her writing like that before. Sarah squeezed her hand. "Why don't you try selling some of your stories here next week? We can see how it goes." Hope surged through Maya. Could this really be happening? She spent all week carefully selecting her best stories, hand-typing them on colourful paper and binding them into small homemade booklets. Each one felt like a piece of her own heart. Friday night arrived again. This time, nestled beside Sarah's paintings were Maya's midnight musings, a collection of fantastical tales and heartfelt observations. Maya's hands trembled slightly as she greeted the first customer. To her surprise, a young woman with bright red hair stopped at her stall. "Wow," she said, picking up a booklet. "These look interesting. What are they?" Maya took a deep breath. "They're short stories I wrote," she explained. "Just a bit of fun." The woman smiled. "Fun? I love to read. How much are these?" That night, Maya sold 3 booklets. 3 people had chosen to spend their Friday night reading her stories. As she helped Sarah pack up, a sense of accomplishment washed over her. This wasn't just about selling stories, this was about sharing a part of herself, connecting with people through her words. "So," Sarah said, leaning against the stall, "next week are we going to see poetry, novels, maybe even a screenplay?" Maya laughed. "Not all at once," she said, "but definitely more stories." Camden Market may have been filled with trinkets and souvenirs, but for Maya it had become a place where she found her own voice, a place where she wasn't just selling stories, she was sharing her dreams. The city lights twinkled above her, reflecting in her excited eyes. The future, like the stories in her booklets, were full of possibilities. Vocabulary notes. Buzzed, verb. This means to be full of activity and excitement. Here it describes the lively atmosphere of London on a Friday night. Example, the market buzzed with people and music. Worn, adjective. This describes something that shows signs of use. Maya's backpack is worn, meaning it's used often and might have some tears or faded colours. Example, she carried her groceries in a worn canvas bag. Tucked away, phrasal verb. This means to be hidden or in a secluded spot. Sarah's stall is tucked away in a corner, meaning it's not immediately visible to everyone passing by. Example, we found a cosy cafe tucked away down a side street. Ornately framed, adjective phrase. This describes a frame that is decorated with elaborate designs or patterns. The painting Sarah shows Maya has an ornately framed edge, making it look more special. Example, the museum displayed an ornately framed portrait. Flew by, phrasal verb. This means that time passed quickly and unnoticed. Maya's shift at the market flew by because she was busy and enjoying herself. Example, the movie was so good that 2 hours just flew by. Thinned, verb. This means that something has become less crowded. As the night went on, the crowd at the market thinned, meaning fewer people were browsing the stalls. Example, the traffic thinned out as we approached the highway exit. Worn but content, adjective phrase. This describes someone who might be tired but feels satisfied and happy. Sarah is worn but content after a long day at the market. Example, the firefighters were worn but content after finally extinguishing the blaze. Fumbled, verb. This means to search for something clumsily or nervously. Maya fumbled in her bag for her notebook, feeling a bit shy about showing her writing. Example, he fumbled for his keys in his pocket as he rushed out the door. Welled up, phrasal verb. This means that tears came to someone's eyes. Tears welled up in Maya's eyes when Sarah praised her writing. Example, tears of joy welled up in her eye as she held her newborn baby. Surged, verb. This describes a feeling that suddenly becomes strong and powerful. Hope surged through Maya when Sarah offered her a chance to sell her stories. Example, a wave of excitement surged through the crowd as the band took the stage. Story written by Google Gemini AI. Images created by desgo.com AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Hello, this is Steve. If you enjoyed the story, please would you take the time to leave a meaningful comment and click on the like icon. If you want to know when the next story has been uploaded, please click on the notify bell icon to be notified. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and tell your English learning friends so they can benefit too. Thank you.